and it works. Brand new one, it's perfect, works great. I did have to pay $20 shipping to ship it to Corsair. They did not send me a pre-shipped slip so I could send it there, so bad on you, Corsair. You guys should have really gave me some kind of free ship to cross-ship for free if you stand by your products and stand by your quality. But yeah, I pretty much had to pay out of pocket $20, but it's not bad for a this power supply. When I bought it brand new, I was using it in my main computer, and I would say it was probably right up in there in that $270 range, maybe $260. It was really, really expensive. This was before the Corsair 8X 1200 watt came out, so this is, you know, one of the big bad boy power supplies that people were running. Some of them were running, you know, 2 or 3 480 GTX on this power supply. So this is what I was trying to show you. Whoops, sorry about that. The lighting was really, really bad. Pretty much this is all the sound ending foam. Now, when I said sound right, it's mod right. The brand is mod right for the sound ending. Like I said, it's kind of like the Tetris where I had to cut the parts out. And let's see, let me take an outside shot. So that's that little crosshair thing right there is where the fan would go, your 120mm fan, and it's got a fan filter in there that you can pull out. See, I don't know if you can see it right here. You can just pull this out if you want, slide that out, wash it, and then pop it back in with a new fan. I have no fan in there because there's no point in putting one in there. It's so quiet. I was going more for a quiet. This is my home theater PC / data server, so I really, really want to store my hard drives. This stores all my HD videos. When you have a gaming PC, it's a good idea to have some kind of backup or have some kind of fail-safe, you know, where you back up all your data. Instead of having a NAS, I built just pretty much a home theater PC with all my hard drives in it. And for me, it works really, really great. Now here's data recovery. This is very important. When you have a lot of data like I do, you always want to have backup hard drives to back up your data. And this is a good reason why. It's a Western Digital 2TB green, and I read the reviews on this when I bought it on Tiger Direct, and I read Newegg reviews. Everybody was giving it horrible reviews. It had real bad, you know, RMA where people were dying. And I'll try to read. I don't know how well I can read the model number, but the model number is WD20EARS, so that's ears. It's a 2TB green, serial ATA2, Western Digital green, and this thing just died. I just pretty much lost I'd say 800 gigabytes worth of data, maybe more. I backed up a lot of my other stuff to other hard drives that I got, but really you need, if you're having this much data, you need probably 2 of these. One to back up this, one to store the data, and then one for a backup for each drive. It's the best. People use like RAID 5 and RAID 6. To me, it's not an option because it's too costly. What I mean by that is if it breaks, let's say I have a RAID card, I have to have the same hard drive to replace the broken hard drive with. So let's say I had 5 of these hard drives, and then like 2 died in my RAID 6 array or something like that, and I had to replace them. Let's say they discontinued and I couldn't find these hard drives anymore. I'm pretty much screwed and out of luck. So the best option would be to have one hard drive for each hard drive. So if you got 2 terabyte of video collection number 1, you'd have another hard drive backing up that same video collection number 1. And like I said, WD20 ears. And I'll put a link in the description. Don't buy this crap. Don't buy Western Digital Green. I have a lot of Western Digital Green hard drives. These are junk. Me, over the time, I bought 5 Western Digital 1 terabyte drives, and they never broke. They lasted. I mean, hell, I can run them in RAID 0 if I want. They're just performance drives. They're best. They're the best. So that's why I recommend the Western Digital 1 terabyte drives. Now, you see I'm using the razor-like Kosa, and over time when you beat on stuff with the keyboards, you can see the buttons start to wear out. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna try to show you all the flaws that happen with parts over time. See how they're rubbing? just from using it. I use the arrow keys instead of the ASWD keys when I play games. So the mouse, see, you can see a little bit of wear and tear right there. I'm so happy to get this back. This is that Corsair HX1000, and in here I put all custom sound deadening foam. This is the Mod Right, not FrozenCPU.com, but Mod Right, not Sound Right. So sorry if I said that in the last video. I'll just try to show you what's going on. The power supply fan is a 140mm fan on this, on the Corsair HX1000, and inside it has dual 500-watt rails. Well, it's a dual rail power supply, not a single rail on the 12 volts. So I mean, if you're running multiple video cards, it works pretty good. It's modular, so you can see all the blue right there. That's all for extra, like video cards, PCI Express power connectors, like 6-pin and 8-pins. I don't really need it because I'm running one video card. This is more of a home theater PC and data server, so this stores all my media from my 3 computers, you know, if I want to store anything. So that's all the hard drives and all the connectors you need to power it. I really tried to go better cable management with this PC because it's hard to tie cables in the Antec 1200 case. Let me do a outside video. So I'll start off from the top. This is a 200mm fan that's built in. It's an Antec Big Boy, and it's got big fan on it. This is a external hard drive, USB 2.0. It's a Western Digital 2TB green element. It's called Western Digital Element. It's external, and these work pretty good for external drives. You just gotta be careful with them. Don't throw them around because you'll destroy your data. Be careful with hard drives. You can't just throw them around like me. Like if I take this piece of crap that yeah, this is junk. Don't buy Western Digital greens because these are junk. But yeah, thank you Western Digital for that crappy drive. I didn't even want an RMA because I knew if I got another one it would break. I already bought because I read the reviews, and a lot of people were saying it was junk, but I decided to buy it anyways, and I took a hit. So I learned from my lesson. Try to buy better drives. I don't really recommend Seagate, but I mean, if you want to get Seagate, you can do that. So this is a Corsair H50 that I put a 120mm fan grill on. It's an Antec Tri-Cool 120mm blue LED, and right now it's actually set up, the best configuration you can do with the H50 is set up as push. So it's taking the cold air from outside the case and it's pushing it right through the radiator, and it's taking the cool air, and it works really good with the H50, H60, H70, and H80. If you want to run like H100, I'd probably run exhaust where it's blowing the air out. So like I said, 200mm blue LED fan. I want to go really, really old school, so I had some old school hard drives, and back there that is the little LCD controller for the motherboard. It will show temperatures and everything. I'm hoping I can kind of see it. It's got a little controller, and there's the little top of it. So it's a Western Digital SE 320GB IDE hard drive. You know, so you can see the cable. This is old school. This is what they used to run back in the day. You know, I built a lot of old school computers, so I kind of use some of the stuff. I'm not rich, so I use the parts that I got. Underneath that, like I said, I don't like Seagate, but I decided to use it anyways. You know, you do what you got to do. Same IDE, Seagate, 250GB hard drive. I'm not sure. I know this is 7200 RPM. It's one of the fastest IDE Western Digital drives that I could find. Back then it was SE. I had it for a long time. And Seagate, I think, is 5400 RPM. I'm reusing one of my graphics cards. So I'm using the HD Sapphire 5870, HD 5870 1GB graphics card. And these things run about the same, a little bit hotter than the 670 GTX. They do run a little hot loud, but they're a lot louder. I can tell you that much. They're really, really loud. This is the Asus Maximus 2 Formula motherboard, and back then this is a P45, before X58 came out, this was an awesome motherboard. These used to overclock the Core 2 Duos and Core 2 Quads on socket 775, LGA socket 775, and P45 motherboards overclock some of the best CPUs. I'm using a Intel Core i7, or no, not Core i7, Intel Core 2 Quad Q9650 quad core, overclocked to 3.2 gigahertz, but I have had the CPU overclocked to 4.1 gigahertz 24/7 stable, only 1.3 volts, so it runs at very low volts, but it runs super hot when you overclock, hotter than 2600K. So I'd say this is the hottest CPU I've ever had when you overclock. Yeah, you only need 3.2 gigahertz because when you have a home theater PC, you don't need to use so much horsepower, CPU horsepower, or anything like that. Pretty much you got any quad core, it could play 1080p videos and all that. It really depends on, sometimes on the video card and, you know, a decent CPU. This memory is kind of rare now. It's a Corsair Dominator, believe it or not. Let's see if I can try to get something on here. Yeah, this is the old school Corsair Dominator. It's DDR2 1066 megahertz. So there's 4 sticks of 2 gigabytes, so it's 8 gigabytes in total. And this memory is kind of hard to find right now because DDR2, they kind of stopped making it, so I've had it. This is a little mod I did right here. This is, like I said, frozen CPU, UV red sleeving, you know, sleeving. I don't know why I kept saying heat shrink in the other video. Sorry, I meant sleeving. And there's some up here where I sleeved it. That's just tape and the little plastic dragon that installed. Now I used to have cool UV cold cathode tubes on each side of the motherboard, if you remember my old video, but I had to remove them because there's so many cables, and this is really like a server. You really want, you know, not a lot of cables. You want to try to make it nice and clean and what it's used for, what it's intended for. The sound card is pretty awesome. I've had this for a long time. I think I paid $150 for it. It's the Creative X5 Titanium Fatality, and there's some better stuff out there, but it's a PCI Express 1 card, and for sound, even though it's a gaming card, it works awesome for movies. I think I paid $150 for that, and the CPU, back then it was really expensive, $360. It was more than my Core i7 2600K. The 2600K I think was like $340. So yeah, it's insane. Like these older Core 2 Quad CPUs, this is the 3rd highest CPU you can buy. They had Q9650, then they had QX9650, and then it was QX9770. So I mean, that one those were the extreme ones. This is the one before the extreme one. And I overclocked that to 4.1 gigahertz 24/7. It works pretty good. I mean, for this system, I know it's really overkill for a home theater PC, but if you really wanted to throw a 680 GTX in here, just a single graphics card, and play games at 1920 by 1200 resolution 1080p, you'll have no problems. The CPU shouldn't hold you back too much. I'd say the CPU speed is pretty much up there with the AMD 1100T, that 6-core CPU, the performance, because it was Core 2 Quad. It was pretty fast back then. Okay, now, yeah, I'm so happy to get the Corsair HX 1000 back, because it's really good power supply. It is a little bit louder than the Corsair GS 100, but I want to run it for this computer. Now, you're probably wondering, why didn't I run this power supply since I got it back into my half 932 PC? Well, the Corsair GS is, like I said, more quieter. It fits this build a lot better. I mean, hands down, it really does. It fits this computer a lot better because you can adjust the fan colors to different LEDs, and it's quiet, and it's just, I hate to say it, but I don't trust the Corsair GS 800 after I had it explode, not explode, but die on me. My system was down for too long, so I kind of just put it in my server, you know, for light use, and it works great. I mean, you could power some pretty high-end video cards with this thing. It's pretty much overkill, but this case is the Antec 1200 case, so I can run 9 hard drives. These slide out, the drive bay slide out. There's a little sorry, I don't know if you can see it, but there's fans